Thomas here with Much Props, going to give you another how-to video. Today we are once again working on our Fallout sturdy metal armor, and I'm coming to a very close finish. I have the belt to weather this and my Pip-Boy and possibly build a helmet. So it's getting very close to being completely done. And for this build, we are going to be making an easy belt. I didn't template this thing out, and you'll kind of understand why here in a minute, but this is definitely something that needs to be made custom to fit you, and my waist is probably by far larger than a lot of you who would try and tackle this build. I'll give you some measurements and ideas as to how I went about figuring it out. But it's not very hard at all. The belt is probably the most simplest part of the entire set of armor. So today we will be building a super sturdy belt out of What the Foam from Cosplay Apprentice that actually works like a real belt. Let's get to building. So I'm using What the Foam for this build simply because it's much denser than regular EVA, and I think it'll hold up a little bit better in making a real belt. I cut a strip of 6mm foam about 3 inches wide and 12 inches longer than my waist measurement. Then do the same with the red, which is 2mm at 2.5 inches, so that there's a 1/4 inch less on each side to add a layer effect. I found a circle that was roughly the depth of my hips, which ended up being one of our small plates from our kitchen. Don't tell my wife. Same basic concept as the long strip. The red piece is about 1/2 inch smaller than the black part to give a nice layer effect. In game it looks like the hip pad and the belt are all one piece, but doing it this way allowed me not to worry about placement and I could figure it out later. And I kind of like the way it added a little bit more detail by stacking it. The edge of the belt tapers into a point, so I cut one side out and flip it to the other side to get it close to even. You could probably find a weight belt online somewhere that would work similar to this, but they are pretty expensive, and good luck finding one that fit the design of the one in game. Alright, I know what some of you are going to ask. why I didn't show myself making the buckle, which I did out of an old paper towel holder. I don't do a lot of metal work, and I don't want to show you bad techniques. Just know that it was super sketchy, and it took me about an hour or so to cut and bend this little piece into place. Looking at a real belt kind of helped me figure it out. You cut slits a few inches opposite of the tapered edge. Because my belt is 3 inches wide, I set my slits an inch off of each edge. Coming off the tapered side, I measured every 1.5 inches and put 2 sets of holes, an inch off each side to match the buckle prongs. I put foam under because my table is made of glass and I don't want it to shatter when I drill into it. What the foam is super dense. As you can see here, I drilled out some holes using my stone bit and it got heated up from the friction and actually broke. So I switched to a metal bit. Make sure you wear a respirator and work in a well ventilated area while doing this. This stuff kicks up fumes and dust everywhere and you don't want to breathe that stuff in. I added a little heat form curve to my hip pads and marked the center of them. I also put on the belt, marked the center of my hips on it. Then it's just a matter of gluing the hip pads to the belt. I also added a small 1-inch strip to hold the end of the belt down. I don't really understand the purpose of these straps, but okay, Fallout. Maybe for strapping on holsters for guns or pouches, I don't really know. I marked off the ends of the hip pads onto the belt and spread a thin layer of contact cement down. I also put a layer on the rounded over 1-inch strips you see here and cut off a little foam buckle out of 4mm EVA. Then I just tacked them down. Each side gets a few slits for the buckle to be pretend tightened, I guess. I then took a thin strip of 4mm and made the prongs for the buckle. Two coats of Plasti Dip. Then, to save a little bit of time, I spray painted a base color of light brown over everything. Just like on the model in-game, the holes have eyelets that help reinforce them. I only had gold ones on hand, so I tacked them down to a piece of duct tape, spray painted them silver, and then brought them back inside. I could not find the tool to push out the eyelets to lock them into place, so I just super glued them down. I don't know if they will hold or not, but if they fall out, I can always just replace them or glue them back in. Last of all is the dirtying up. I'm using Platifex acrylic paint and brushing black and brown all over the place. Because the surface is flat, I partially dab off parts, purposefully making it uneven. Then I came back with my chip brush almost dry and added random dark areas. Silver got painted on the buckles, and I took a lighter brown and just ran it across all the edges of the leather pieces to make it look all scuffed up. And we are finished. Here is the end result. I really like the way the edges turned out. I may actually go back and add this to my leather strapping on the other pieces just to make it all match and come together. It definitely makes it look like a roughed up leather. But overall, not too bad. It was fairly simple to put together. You can see why I didn't really template it out. It's literally rectangle, rectangle, circle, rectangle. It's not that complicated to try and figure out yourself. The hardest part for me was actually making the buckle. I had that towel holder, paper towel holder from college. My mother-in-law bought it for me and my wife in college, and it kind of got rusted a little bit, and we got a new one that clipped somewhere else, and I thought as we were going to get rid of it, I'll put it to good use. So Carolyn, that's the paper towel holder he bought us for college when I was at A&M. So maybe you will try and make a belt yourself and impress your friends with your foam ingenuity, so much so that they start to make all of their accessories out of EVA. True. Maybe you'll get some...
Yay!
And inevitably, they're going to ask you, how'd you make that? You can give them one of these, tell them much props. So I guess I'm probably going to have to reveal my... I'll put it up real high where you can see it. Probably gonna have to reveal my full suit here pretty soon. Be on the lookout for that.